Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today we're going to be comparing three semi-automatic pistols. We're going to be comparing the MP443, the G17C, and the M9. Now the reason why I chose to compare all three of these pistols is that they are nearly identical stat-wise. There's subtle differences, and I'm going to go over each one and talk about which gun might suit your playstyle the best. So currently I'm using the MP443 with the TAC Light edition. You can either use this gun standard, with a suppressor, or with the TAC Light. Now personally I like the TAC Light the best. Suppressor is an option if you really want to stay off that mini-map, but you are reducing your hipfire accuracy and your damage over range. Now personally with a pistol, I think you really need to maintain your hipfire accuracy at all costs because a lot of times you're using this gun in really close quarters and you need to shoot from the hip. Now because all three of these pistols only do 25 damage maximum and have a very slow rate of fire at 400 rounds per minute, you're going to need whatever advantage you can get in close quarters when you're up against assault rifles. So the TAC Light is where that advantage comes in. You have to put a TAC Light or something on here to try and blind your opponent, slow them down just enough, because if you run into anybody of equal skill with an assault rifle, it's just game over. These guns don't fire fast enough, they don't do enough damage to drop people basically quick enough who are of equal skill. Now I hear a lot of people talk about the MP443 very fondly. I believe that's largely because it has 2 more bullets than the M9 in its magazine. Now the G17C also has the same ammo capacity as the MP443, clocking in at 18 bullets per magazine, while the M9 only has 16 bullets per magazine. So you can sustain fire for 2 bullets longer with the G17 and the MP443 than the M9. All three guns have a short reload of 1.35 seconds, a long reload of 1.6 seconds, a left pull of 0.1, a right pull of 0.1, and a vertical recoil of 0.7. All three guns have the exact same maximum damage of 25 and minimum damage of 13.75 and a drop off of 50 meters. They're all exactly identical in their damage models. Now here's a stat in which the guns actually seem to differ: the muzzle velocity, the speed at which the bullets travel from the gun. In that regards, the MP443 is kind of the bottom of the chain with a 320 meter per second muzzle velocity. The M9 has a 380 meter per second muzzle velocity, and the G17C has a 375 meters per second muzzle velocity. This is important for hitting moving targets. Granted, in close quarters it's not a huge deal, but still, if the guns are all pretty much identical and one of them shoots bullets at a faster rate, then that gun's going to come out on top. Now let's move on to the G17C, and to do that I'm going to have to talk a little bit about attachments. Now the M9 and the MP443 offer the same attachment options. You can run the guns standard without anything on them, or you can have a flashlight or a suppressor. Now the G17C comes standard with a laser sight. You cannot remove the laser sight from this gun, and you have the option of equipping a suppressor in addition to the laser sight, giving it some unique options. And unfortunately the G17C seems to be banned from all the pistol-only servers, so I actually had to try this, test this out on a few close-quarter situations up against assault rifles. So it's a little bit different of a play experience, but it really gave me a good feel for the G17's strengths. Now because the G17C runs with a laser sight, that improves its hipfire immensely. You still have that sort of laser sight dazzling effect, which frankly I think is overrated. You might as well call it the give away your position effect. But the hipfire accuracy benefits that you get from the laser sight on this pistol are huge. In fact, with the laser on this pistol you can fire almost as accurately from the hip as you can from aiming down sights. Your hipfire accuracy is 0.67 while your aiming down sight accuracy is 0.5. Now, the aiming down sights on this gun isn't really that good because the iron sights, in my opinion, are the worst of the 3 weapons, but because you're so accurate when shooting from the hip, that really kind of makes up for it. So now you can just run this gun without having to worry about aiming down sights, and this is actually a huge improvement for close quarter combat, because that's mostly when you're going to be using a pistol. You really want to forget about using these guns in any sort of long range situation, just because the damage output is so mediocre that you're not going to really be able to drop anybody who's on their game. Now another awesome thing about the hipfire accuracy benefit you get from having the laser on the G17C is that when you're moving, you still maintain a pretty darn good spread. So instead of having a 1.5 hipfire accuracy while moving around like the M9 or the MP443 have, you only have a 1.005 hipfire accuracy, which is really accurate. So you can actually sort of bob and weave with this weapon in close quarters and hipfire. So it makes you a harder to hit target, you're dazzling your opponent with the laser, and you've got great hipfire accuracy. It's just an awesome weapon if you like to sort of jump around and stay mobile in those really close quarter engagements. Now if you run the suppressed G17C, you actually get to have that laser equipped at the same time. So what that does is, since the suppressor reduces your hipfire accuracy and the laser improves your hipfire accuracy, you now have a pistol that's just as accurate as the M9 or the MP443 in hipfire situations while running a suppressor. This is awesome if you really want to be stealthy and have a semi-automatic pistol. Oddly enough, the suppressor also improves your aiming down sight accuracy just a little bit. That's something I wouldn't really base my decision on since the iron sights are so bad anyway. Now let's talk about the M9. The M9 has the fastest muzzle velocity of all three pistols, meaning that you can hit moving targets the easiest and you can hit far away targets the easiest. It also has some great iron sights for aiming down the sight. Now some people like the MP443's iron sights the best. Personally, I prefer the M9's iron sights. It's just sort of a matter of taste, but I really do find them a little bit easier to use than the MP443. Now here I'm using the tack light again. I really do think the tack light is the way to run this pistol. There's been a lot of close quarter situations where I've had an assault rifle, I've come around a corner and I've been distracted by some guy with an M9 and a tack light. You know, I think it's happened to everybody out there. It really just is a good distracting device to really allow you to give you that time that you need to take out your opponent. Now something that you're definitely going to have to start incorporating to your gameplay if you use these pistols as your sidearm is aiming for the head. Whether you're hip firing or aiming down the sights, you want to be aiming at the head of your target because they only do 25 damage maximum, meaning you're going to have to put 4 shots into your enemy if you hit them in the body. If you hit them in the leg where it does 90% damage, you're going to end up having to hit them 5 times. So if you can get 1 headshot in there and then say 2 body shots, that's a 3-shot kill. If you can get 2 headshots in a row, then that's a 2-shot kill. That's very helpful, but you want to aim for that head to maximize your damage just because these guns really do shoot so slowly compared to the machine pistols that are available. And then if you compare them to, say, the Magnum or the Rex, which can down somebody in 1 shot if you shoot them in the head, you've got a lot of work to do with these guns to sort of compete on the same level. Now in choosing between the M9 and the MP443, the main things you want to consider are their bullet velocity, where the M9 has 380 meters per second and the MP443 has 320, making the M9 a little bit better at hitting moving targets and further away targets, but the MP443 has 2 extra bullets in the magazine, making it a bit more lethal in terms of sustaining fire for an extended period of time. And as far as bullet velocity goes, 320 meters per second is perfectly adequate for close quarters, which is where you should be using these guns. So here's my recommended setups for these pistols when used as a sidearm, not as a primary weapon. I would put the tack light on the M9 and the MP443. It's just such a great distraction in close quarters and actually a really useful tool. I mean, there's points where I'm like, alright, I get to switch to my tack light now that I'm in close quarters. For the G17, I really like running it without the suppressor so that you can just shoot from the hip all the time and be deadly accurate. Personally, my favorite pistol is still the 44 Magnum, just for that sheer stopping power and ability to take out multiple foes. I hope this video helps you guys figure out what pistol is best for you, and if you enjoyed the content, please remember to rate the video, and I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.